I was kidnapped mid-flight, and my lover could do nothing about it. As I fought in despair, my son transformed into a werewolf right beside me. It's not just a struggle for survival, it's a test of family. Chapter 13 Lily. A sharp knock on the door jolts me from a deep slumber, one that felt like the most restful I've had in ages. The familiar voice of Lucas, our observant crew member, filters through the door. Hey Alpha, we land in 10. I blink my eyes open to see Lucas standing in the doorway, his responsible demeanor evident in his posture. Dylan, ever the protective presence, nods his head against my hair, coming in response. Lucas smirks at me, shaking his head as he leaves the room, his eyes twinkling with unspoken amusement. Dylan, we have to get up. My nurturing instincts kicking in as I nudge him, but true to his playful nature, he doesn't budge. Shifting my focus, I turn to wake Ethan, the vulnerable child under my care. He rouses more easily, and once he's fully awake, I instruct him to wait for us in the adjacent room. Glancing at the clock, I note it's nearly dawn. Now comes the challenge of waking Dylan, my flirtatious romantic interest. I turn to face him, my caring nature momentarily replaced by mischief as I start to mess with his face. His eyebrows scrunch together, but his eyes remain stubbornly closed. Dylan KKK. Wake up, I whine, catching sight of his telltale smirk. Before I can admonish him, I'm suddenly flipped over, finding myself beneath his hovering form. His assertiveness is on full display as he grins down at me. Oh, I'm wide awake. My breath catches as he trails lingering kisses along my throat. A moan threatens to escape as his wandering hands explore my sides, igniting a fire within me. You're so beautiful, Lily A-line, he murmurs, his words sending a shiver down my spine. His mouth finds my sweet spot, eliciting a breathy Dylan. From my lips, I can feel his arousal pressing against my thigh, my own desire building between my legs. As his hand travels lower, my resilience kicks in. I push him away, my protective instincts resurfacing. Stay away from me, Dylan Matthews. Don't act like you didn't like it, he retorts, his signature grin still in place. Before I can respond, a heart-wrenching scream pierces the air from the front of the plane. My protective nature surges to the forefront as I recognize Ethan's cry. I push past Dylan, racing to find Ethan curled up on the floor, eyes tightly shut, clutching his sides. What's wrong? My voice laced with concern. A whimper's his only response, and a sinking realization hits me. He's shifting. How far are we from landing? Dylan demands, his protective side matching my own. I gather Ethan's trembling from into my arms, rocking him gently. Another scream tears from his throat as he digs his claws into my arms, drawing blood. I grit my teeth, my resilience allowing me to ignore the pain. After what feels like an eternity, he retracts his claws, leaving me both relieved and apprehensive about what's to come. We're only about 2 minutes from landing. Baby boy, can you hold off until then? Ethan gives Dylan a small nod. Dylan looks at my arms worriedly, but I just wave him off. Elliot will take care of him once we arrive. I don't need you to lose too much blood. I nod, not wanting to fight with him. He kisses my forehead, buckling me and Ethan in my seat as he seats himself as well. After we land, we all hurry off the plane and into Dylan's jeep. I refuse to let go of Ethan as Dylan speeds off to the pack house. We thankfully make it to the house in less than 5 minutes. I rush into the house and into the backyard where almost all the pack members are standing by. Ethan screams as his claws dig deeper than before into my arms. I stand there, mouth open as the pain in my arms becomes almost unbearable. Let my arms go. Instead of doing so, he growls at me. I know he isn't in control anymore. Baby, please, you need to focus on what your wolf form looks like. Imagine your bones turning into fur and paws. Think of your senses heightened and you running through the woods on all fours. Come on, baby, you can do it. encouraging him softly. He lets go of my hand as his bones start to break. I crawl away on my bloody hands until I reach Dylan. I watch as each of my son's bones break until a grey wolf takes his place. The wolf makes eye contact with me, and on shaky legs, he makes his way to me. I smile through my tears as I remember my little boy taking his first steps. When he approaches me, he immediately licks my wounds. A whimper leaves his mouth as he looks at me with sad eyes. Baby, it doesn't hurt that bad, I assure him. He licks my face, making me giggle. He jumps on me, continuing his assault on my face. The whole pack laughs as I try to push him off of me. Okay, little guy, I think your mom has had enough, Dylan says but gets growled at. He raises an eyebrow at him, since he basically disrespected his alpha. This some Team Wolf stuff. Dad versus son, let's go, Leonard says from behind Dylan. I laugh as I roll out from under Ethan. He tries to nip at my heels but I dodge him and hide behind Dylan. You trying to challenge me? Pup, Dylan questions with amusement in his voice. The pack watches silently with excitement in their eyes. Ethan's wolf barks and tries to nip at Dylan's toes. Dylan dodges it with ease, watching our son attempt again. The two continue messing with each other until Ethan's wolf finally lays down. The pack ends their congrats to Ethan, each petting their future alpha before going back to their own houses. Okay, how about we go run? Ethan's wolf head perks up, and HES on his feet in seconds. All the boys, including Dylan, Elliot, Gavin, Lucas, and both our dads, all get ready to take off to the woods. It's already like 10 o'clock at night. Dylan, do you think that's such a good idea? Ethan's wolf nudges against my leg, making me look down at him. He stands up tall, his chest puffed out. I figure HES telling me HES ready, but I can't be sure since he doesn't know how to mind link yet. Okay. Be careful though. A wolfish grin plants itself on his face as he jumps on me, giving me a long wet kiss. I look to the men and see them all in their underwear besides Dylan, who is still fully dressed. If my son gets hurt in those woods, I can promise you all, not one of you will ever have sex again. I tell them all before they head out. You know Dylan gave almost the same threat a few hours ago, Lucas says, making everybody laugh. I look at Dylan to see him smirking at me. He starts to take his shirt off, followed by the rest of his clothes until he is left in his boxers. His eyes stay glued to me. The sexual tension in the room is at an all-time high. He grips his waistband on his underwear, but doesn't move to pull them down. I raise an eyebrow, smirking at him. Oh my, can you guys just go have sex already? Leonard groans as he stares at us wide-eyed. I smile and kiss Ethan on the head. Have fun. Oh yeah, those briefs look expensive. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You might not want to ruin them. I wink over my shoulder, hearing him chuckle as I enter the kitchen. Okay, what happened on that plane? Leonard asks as he joins me in the kitchen. I ignore his question as I search the fridge for something to eat. Just as I am about to grab the whipped cream, the fridge door is shut close. Leonard stands there, glaring at me. Leonard says, I'm hungry. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He shakes his head, moving in front of the fridge. Lily, I'm your best friend. If you don't tell me what happened between you and Dylan, I will wrestle you, he says in all seriousness. I look around and see that my only escape is the back door. Lily, don't you? Before he can finish, I sprint towards the back door. I feel his footsteps behind me, but I ignore them and focus on getting away. You'll never catch me, Satan. I yell back as I make a sharp turn, making him trip over a branch. I take off towards the edge of the forest, taking turns here and there to trip him up. After 20 minutes, he catches up with me. I just want to know if you're now part of the Mile High Club. I stop running, not able to control my laughing. I feel Leonard's presence beside me and don't have to look at him to know he's pouting. I hear a chuckle, startling me. When I look up, I see all the boys staring at us weirdly. "Mommy, what's the Mile High Club?" Ethan asks, and I can't help but to start laughing again, along with everybody else besides Leonard. "It's something your mom's a part of, but she won't admit it." Leonard answers with a huff. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." I'm not part of it. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." He thankfully drops the subject. "How was your run, baby?" I ask Ethan, but Dylan answers, "It was great." He winks at me when I glare at him. "You guys are weird," Elliot says, patting Ethan on the head before him and Gavin walk ahead into the house. "The run was so fun. Mom and I only fell once. Warren even said that he was proud of me. So that's his wolf's name." I nod, telling him how proud I am of him. "Ethan, you come with us next time." "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Warren says he really wants to meet you and Aurora. "Sure, baby boy. But you're probably not going to feel up to anything really for a few days." He frowns but nods anyways. We all make our way into the house to eat breakfast. "Okay, since you won't tell me if you had crazy plane sex, can you at least tell me how you went from being kidnapped to joking with Dylan?" Leonard asks as we sit down on the couch, watching Gavin and Ethan play video games. It's a long story. "Leonard, I'm not totally okay with the fact that I was kidnapped, but if being here is what keeps me and my son safe, it's what I have to do. Well, I'm glad you're back." I smile at him, bringing him in for a hug. "Also, I know you two did something on that plane. I'm not blind." He whispers in my ear and pulls back with a grin. "Ugh, leave it alone. Lancaster." I groan, calling him by his last name. Or should I say Thompson? He bites his lip, giving me a sheepish smile. I laugh and go over to where Dylan and Lucas are sitting. I hit Lucas on the back of his head, making him growl at me. "What was that for?" He rubs the back of his head. "For proposing to my best friend when I'm in another state." He rolls his eyes, flipping me off before going to where I previously sat in the couch. I look to see Dylan smiling at me, so I take this time to pull him aside. "Can I talk to you alone for a minute?" He nods and jumps off the bar stool. He takes my hand in his and starts walking towards his office. "Be safe. Don't be too loud." Leonard screams after us. I look back to see him in Lucas's arms, grinning at me. I flip him off, rolling my eyes when he blows me a kiss. When we get to Dylan's office, he walks us over to the couch. He stares at me, waiting for me to talk as he rubs circles on my palm. Can we talk about the reason you brought me back?" He tenses and a low growl escapes his lips. Before he can object, I continue. "Dylan, that man took a lot away from me. And till this day, I still can't talk about it. For so long, I fear he would come back. And now those nightmares might be coming true. You promised me you would keep me safe, but I can't feel completely safe unless I know exactly what you're protecting me from. Please, Dylan, I need this. By time I'm done, I can feel the tears start to fall. Lily, share. I'll show it to you, but not now. I just want you to rest. Baby, please don't cry." He coos in my ear, helping me calm down. My tears halt, and my body stops shaking as I take in the comfort of being in Dylan's arms. "Thank you," I whisper against his neck, making his skin erupt in goosebumps. I look into his eyes to see him looking at me lovingly. In seconds, our lips connect, causing sparks to erupt between us. I never knew that a kiss could make my head spin, making me really question what I'm doing. But like Miles said, I can't deny my feelings for this man. My back hits the back of the couch as Dylan hovers over me, leaving kisses down my neck. UK? No, we still have to talk about UK kidnapping me. He chuckles as he sucks on my earlobe. It's not kidnapping if you wanted to come. Pervert. As his hand slips up my shirt into my breast. I close my eyes, enjoying his much-needed presence. His hands start to massage me through my bra as I moan in pleasure. As he leans to kiss my lips again, a knock stops him. A vicious growl escapes his mouth as he gets off of me. He curses as he makes his way to the door. I sit up, fixing my shirt and fanning myself as I try to cool down. What? Dylan growls out as he opens the door. It's a tear-stained Leonard. Leonard, what's the matter? It's Ethan. Panic starts to flood me as I run into the living room. Everybody is standing there, looking worried, some having tears in their eyes. Where's my son? Nobody answers, so I try again with a different approach. I asked, where is my son? They all flinch back at my lunar tone. Lily, calm down, Dylan says as he approaches me. Don't tell me to calm down. Somebody better answer my question before I flip out. Yes, gone. We were just sitting around when we noticed he was missing. Galvin finally speaks up. I grab the closest thing to me, which is a vase with flowers in it, and throw it against the wall. Lily, throwing things isn't going to help, Dylan says, making me turn around and glare at him. You don't know what helps me, Nick. This is all your fault anyways. How is it my fault? You were the one that wanted to talk. If anything, it's your fault. I stare at him and realize his words are true. This is all my fault. I can't keep my child safe. What kind of a mother am I? Lily, I didn't. You're right. It is my fault. I need to go look for him. I take off before any of them can say anything. I shift into my grey wolf and take off towards the woods. I hear people screaming for me to stop, but I refuse. I try to find Ethan's scent, but since he just shifted, it's almost impossible. I hear noises coming from behind me, but I ignore them, most of them. A branch snaps, making me go on high alert. I look around, but I don't see anything. I feel a or a whimper, shrinking to the back of my mind. What is it? Aurora. It's long time no see. Cupcake. I freeze in my spot. Oh, come on, baby face. I want to see your pretty little wolf face. I can feel him come closer. I close my eyes tightly as I try to get my wolf to control. Aurora, please. I need you. I'm sorry, Lily. I can't feel her in my head anymore. Leave the boy. It's just useless to me now. I see Ethan on the ground, passed out. I try to get him when I'm suddenly pushed to the ground. Well, we can't stay here for long. Cupcake, that mate of yours might find you, he says before I feel an intense pain on my side. I whimper as my body falls to the ground. I can feel my bones change as I'm left without clothes and vulnerable to the man I ever wanted to see again. I like your new hair, Cupcake. It suits you, but it will look so much better as I grip it and take away your innocence over and over and over. My eyes start to close as I block out Silas's voice. I hear screaming in the background, but it sounds distant. The next thing I know, I'm being put into a tight space, and everything is completely black. Chapter 14. Eth and I watch as my dad disappears into the playroom. I'm actually kinda scared for him. I know Mommy would never hurt anybody, but she seems angry. The only time Mommy has ever been angry with me was when I got in trouble at school. But that didn't last long. Ethan Matthews, how could you hit that poor girl? Mommy exclaims as soon as we step into the house. But she was being mean. I wouldn't have hit her for no reason. That doesn't mean you can hit people. I always told you that there is no reason for you to hit anybody. Boy or girl. But Mom, she said mean things to me. She said that I was a loser because I don't have a dad. I see her face soften. She comes over to me and pulls me into a hug. Baby, just because your dad isn't around, doesn't mean you're less than any of the other kids. I nod, knowing she's right, but it still upsets me. You know the offer still stands to meet him, she asks as she runs her hand through my hair. Doesn't she know she's messing up a masterpiece? I don't want to meet him. I already told you that. She nods and kisses my forehead before going to the kitchen. I hear a crash from the kitchen, making me turn my head. Pans are scattered on the floor and Mommy has an annoyed look on her face. I help her pick them up, getting a thankful look from her. Hey Mommy, what's up? Baby, what did Daddy do to you? Making her freeze. All I know is it has something to do with her and her aura. It's not important. Why don't you clean up your room? They'll come get you when dinner's ready. I nod and hug her. I love you. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I love you too. I smile at the memory. As much as I loved it when it was just me and Mommy. Now that Daddy is here, I can't believe I never wanted to meet him. Arch as the best daddy in the world. I know he hurt Mommy, but he seems really sorry. Uncle Lucas, he looks at me, raising an eyebrow. Do you think Mommy and Daddy will get back together? He looks surprised at my question. Honestly, Buddy, I don't know. They stopped screaming at each other. So if that indicates anything, then maybe. I smile, thinking of how great it would be if they got back together. Can I go in there? I ask Uncle Lucas. Jason answers. If you're brave enough. He snorts and goes back to his phone. Why is he so weird? Go ahead, little man, Lucas says, nodding towards the door. I unbuckle my seatbelt and go to the door. I knock first, not wanting to get something thrown at my head. I peek my head and see them incredibly close to each other. They're both laying down, cuddled up against each other. Maybe Uncle Leonard was right. Can I come in? They both nod. Mommy pats the spot next to her. I climb in, letting Mommy wrap her arms around me as Daddy wraps his arms around both of us. I close my eyes as I relax into my mom's embrace. I feel my shoulders shake and hear someone whisper in my ear. I open my eyes to see Mommy looking at me with a soft smile. Baby? Why don't you go wait for us in the other room? I nod, pushing the covers off of me. Lucas and Jason are buckled up, each on their phones. Hey, little man. Did you sleep well? Lucas asks as I sit in my own seat. Yep, but my head hurts. Really a sharp pain hits my leg. I fall to the ground with a loud scream. The pain increases, spreading all over my body. I feel my mom's arms wrap around me, holding me close to her. I feel a sharp pain in my hands, which are slowly replaced with claws. I grip on to whatever is close by. It happens to be my mom's arms. We're only about 2 minutes from landing. Baby boy, can you hold off until then? Daddy asks me, pushing my sweaty hair out of my face. I nod, since my throat feels like it's on fire. The pain increases even more, but all I can do is cling to my mom for support. Finally, the captain announces we have landed. Mommy jumps off her seat with me in her arms. We exit the plane and go straight to Daddy's Jeep. The ride to the pack house seems like forever, and I'm thankful when we finally get there. As we enter the backyard, I barely open my eyes to see the whole pack watching us. The most intense pain yet hits my stomach, making me scream out in pain. If this is what being a wolf takes, I change my mind. I hear my mom's voice, but it sounds distant. A funny feeling makes its way in my throat, and when I open my mouth, I growl well. I did not just make that sound. Baby, please, you need to focus on what your wolf form looks like. Imagine your bones turning into fur and paws. Think of your senses heightened and you running through the woods on all fours. Come on, baby, you can do it. Mommy encourages me. She's right. A voice says in my head. Wait a minute. Who what? Hi Ethan. I'm your wolf. To our agent extraordinaire, Webnovel. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You need to focus now. You're hurting our mom. I know even though it is in my head. That's so weird to say. Okay, focus. I feel my bones breaking. The excruciating pain slowly going away. I sigh a breath of relief when it's gone. I open my eyes to see everybody staring at me. When I lock eyes with Mummy's teary ones, I look at her arms to see them bleeding. I stand up to help her, but I see my hands and legs replaced with grey-coloured fur. Holy macaroni. My legs shake a little bit as I walk. But the more strength I gain. Lick her arms. It will stop the bleeding and heal the wounds, Warren says as I approach her. I do just that and watch as the blood disappears in her open wounds close. A whimper leaves my mouth as I remember that I did that to her. Baby boy, it doesn't hurt that bad, she assures me. I lick her hands and her face. Okay, little guy. I think your mum has had enough, Daddy says as he helps Mummy stand up. I growl at him for fun. I mean, what can he really do? I try to nip Mummy, but she dodges me. I look to Daddy with mischief in my eyes. Time to have a little fun. You trying to challenge me, pup? I bark at Daddy, indicating that I do. Indeed. What to challenge him? H.S. an old man. I think I can take him. So much to learn. Pup, Warren says, but I ignore him as I continuously try to reach Daddy. But H.S. too fast. I grow tired, so I lay down. Forgetting Daddy, people congratulate me and pat my head. Okay. How about we go run? As soon as I hear the words, my head perks up. Forget being tired. Mommy protests, but with my big eyes and a nice head rub, she gives in. I give her a big kiss on the cheek, bouncing around as in so excited. Wow, I have a tail, people. A freaking tail. Man, this is awesome. Now I can smack people in the face like dogs do. I come out of my here Uncle Leonard shouts something. I look up to see Daddy and Mommy staring at each other weirdly. Daddy's lips pull into a smirk, and Mommy returns it. Why do old people act so strange? God, I hope I don't act like that when I grow up. You ready, buddy? I nod my head, looking towards the woods with excitement. Go for it, bud. We'll catch up. Daddy whispers in my ear. I don't say anything else, as I take off into the woods. Everything seems in slow motion as I run. I can see all different types of animals in the trees and in the ground. I don't know when the others joined me, but as I look to my left, I see Nikolai looking at me. He nudges my side, making me tumble over. A cackling sound comes from him as he smirks before taking off faster. I hurry and hop to my feet, chasing after him. We run like that for another 20 minutes before we head in. We stop pretty close to the backyard of View. Everybody changes back besides me. Okay. Now you need to focus on what your human form looks like. It's just the same as you did last time, but this time, you're each changing back to your human form. All of a sudden, a breeze comes over me, making me look down at my without clothes human body. What happened to my clothes? To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Buddy, put these on. Lucas hands me a pair of shorts and a shirt. Man, I ripped my school shirt, miss. Reynolds is not going to be happy. We head back and come to a laughing Mommy and a pouting Leonard. Mommy, what's the Mile High Club? I ask since I heard Leonard say it. Extreme hearing. Werewolf Perk. Mommy and Leonard argue some more, not really telling me what it is. I tell Mommy about my run and how exciting it was. She looks proud of me, making me be at her. As we enter the house, I make my way over to the couch where Gavin is playing video games. I grab a controller and put myself in the game as I make myself comfortable. After dying 3 times, I give up and see if I can catch some fireflies outside. I walk out, not telling anybody since I won't be out long. I see one flying towards the woods, so I follow it. As I pick up speed, I lose track of where I am. I finally catch it, fist pumping for victory. You've grown so much. It's a voice I recognize. I turn around to see the bad man who had Mommy. I jump back, hitting my head on a tree. I fall on the ground, a massive headache forming. Well, hey, at least I don't have to knock you up myself, the man says with a chuckle. I try to stand up, but I fall every time. I hear paw prints hit the ground, and I thank the moon goddess for someone coming to save me. The Birdman hides behind a tree, disappearing into the shadows as Aurora appears. I try to sit up, but again I fail. She freezes in place as the Birdman makes his appearance. I watch as he sticks something into her side, making her fall down with a whimper. Something in me sparks as I push to my feet, dragging myself to them. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I whisper, but her head barely moves to acknowledge me. The man appears in front of me and grabs my face in his hands. Shesagona, relay a message to your father. Will you? Tell him if he tries to take what's mine again, I will destroy him, starting with you. He lets go of my face harshly. I try to push him away from Mummy, but his hand collides with my face. I fall down, blood streaming down my face. As his footsteps disappear, more are heard coming my way. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I try to scream, but it only comes out as a whisper. Blood and tears stream down my face as I know I let my mommy down. I found him, I hear somebody say before him, wrapped in familiar arms. Birdman, Daddy, Birdman. I whisper before the pain became too much, and my eyes close by themselves. I'm sorry. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I couldn't protect you. Chapter 15. Dylan Lily. I yell as I run through the woods in human form. The whole pack has been searching for her and Ethan for what seem like hours. Alpha Dylan. Ethan nest scent has been spotted near the west border. Thanks, Jason. I cut off the link and head towards the west. It only takes me about 2 minutes to get there, but when I do, an unsatisfying scent hits my nose. It's a mixture of Ethan Ness wolf and his blood. My anger boils as I search frantically for my mate and son. The pack warriors meet me, half in wolf form, the others in human. I found him. I hear Lucas yell. I look to my left to see him cradling a bloody Ethan. I run over and take him in my arms. Birdman, Daddy, Birdman, he whispers as his eyes start to close. Stay with me, please. I run towards the pack house. As I get closer, I can feel my feet pushing faster. Dr. Berry. The doctor runs out. He takes one look at Ethan and immediately takes the kid in his arms. We all follow him to the infirmary. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You can't come in here. I don't have time to object because the door is slammed in my face. I rest my head on the door, letting the tears fall with no shame. Dylan, I'm so sorry. I hear Leonard say. It's not your fault. Leonard, it's nobody's fault. I whisper, but I know everybody had me. I'm going to search for Lily. I don't think Ethan Ness' disappearance was an accident. I say to everyone. What about Ethan? My mole mask standing up to stop me. Let me know when he wakes up. Son, I'm not telling you how to be a parent, but he's your son. My dad interjects into the conversation, pulling my mom to his chest. And he wouldn't be without Lily. I need to find her, Dad. I can't and won't raise our son without her. Now stay here. When Ethan wakes up, inform me. My dad is about to respond, but I stop him. That's an order. He nods and sits back down. I'm going with you, Lucas says as we walk together towards the back door. Lucy, you need to be there for my Alpha. She's my sister, and I made the same promise as you. You're her mate, and I respect that. But I'm her brother. I'm going. I nod, just wanting to get out there as fast as I can. As we reach the backyard, we shift. I nod towards the east for Lucas as I take the west. I want every warrior and tracker looking for your Luna. If you get any kind of hint of her scent, follow it. I get a series of yes alphas before I shut off the link. As I run through the woods, I try to sniff out that scent that I could never get out of my head for 6 years. I didn't know I had stopped running until someone opens the mind link. My body is frozen in place. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. We found her scent where we found Alpha Ethan. We followed it until it just completely stopped. That's all we found. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A pack member says, making my heart feel like £1,000,000. Let me take over. Dylan, Nikolai says gently. I let him do just that. The pain is becoming too much. Nikolai Mitch, I don't care if we're out here all night. If my mate is not found, hell will rise. Alpha N, Nikolai, does he seriously want to die? Do it now. I scream through the mind link, my alpha voice coming through. Yes, Alpha Nikolai. I cut off the link, needing to focus on finding Lily A. Line. I swear if somebody lay a hand on her, they won't have any hands to do so again. I search high and low for her intoxicating scent, but it's like she disappeared off the earth. Dylan, Ethan has woken up, Lucas says. Thank you, Lucas. I'll be on my way. I cut the link, letting him figure out that it's not Dylan. Ethan, you let me know how he is. Dylan says in a barely audible whisper. The pain is evident in his voice. He took all the pain of losing our mate for the last 6 years, barely letting me shift. It finally caught up to him. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I make it back to the pack house in less than minutes. I immediately change into my human form. It's weird to be human since still unready gives me control unless we're in wolf form. I make my way to the infirmary, ignoring the looks I receive from the women. Maybe it's the eyes. Where is he? I ask immediately, getting wide eyes as my response. My dad asks with his mouth wide. Hi, father. Where's my pup? I can take you to him. Alpha Nikolai. Dr. Barry says as he stands by the revolving door. I nod and follow him into the hallway. He should heal in a couple days. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It was only a small concussion, no internal bleeding, but we are putting him on medication for the pain. I nod and thank the doctor. Ethan is on the bed, watching TV. Hey Ethan. He looks at me with a sad smile. Did you get her back? Daddy. I shake my head and sit beside him. His shoulders start to shake as he lets out silent cries. I pull him into my lap, careful of his head bandage. Tut, I promise. I will find your mom and bring her back. But you already promised. Daddy, you said you would protect her, but you didn't. His voice cracks through the sobs, and he hits me on my chest. I hear someone enter the room, but I don't have to turn around to know it's Ayat. I'm sorry. I grab his hands and pin them to his sides. He yanks his arms and turns away from me. I can watch him. I nod and press a kiss to Ethan's head. I exit the room and walk out of the infirmary, ignoring the sympathetic look my family gives me. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I need you in my office right away. I link our best tracker. He replies, letting me know that HE's coming in from the fields and will meet me in my office. I'm ready to take control. Nikolai, Dylan says, trying to push through. You can handle it. This pack doesn't need a bad alpha when their Luna is already missing. I can do it, Nikolai. I agree and let him take control. Dylan, I push Nikolai to the back of mine to help me concentrate. Sitting down at my desk, I pick up the phone to make 2 important calls. The phone rings twice before someone picks up. Hi, a cheerful voice says through the phone. Hi, Benjamin. Is your dad there? I asked the 5-year-old boy. I hate it. Yep, why you calling so late, Uncle Dylan? Course it's an emergency. Buddy. You should be in bed though. I hear giggling from the other line, reminding me of Ethan, who currently hates me right now. I hear a bye from Benjamin and some movement on the other end. Dylan, it's been a while since we talked. What can I help you with? Alpha Miles asks, so clear in his voice. Hey Miles. I'm sorry to bother you, but I need your help. Dylan, are you okay? You don't sound like yourself. What can I help you with? He sounds worried, so I try to push all emotion away and be the heartless alpha I was these past years. Liddy is missing, and I need your help to find her. You have the best trackers, and it would mean a lot if you could help. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nelban, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. Dylan, will come as soon as possible. I thank him, and we discussed raveling plans a little more before we say our goodbyes. I make my second call, but a knock at the door stops me. Come in. Mark walks in with his wife, Lauren, our best trackers. I nod at them as they bow, signaling for them to sit down. Have you guys found anything yet? They shake their heads, their eyes cast down. I sigh and rub the bridge of my nose. How does she just disappear off the face of the earth? Okay. Well, I'm having a friend of mine send some of his trackers. They will arrive around 8, and we will set out at about 10. I want you to gather who you think are the best and let them know the plan. They nod and disappear from my office. Now to call Kaylin and Miles. The call doesn't connect, so I leave a voicemail, telling them what happened. I get up, lock my office, and go back to the infirmary to check on Ethan. HES sound asleep, cuddled up to Elliot. I kiss both on the head and leave to go catch some sleep. After I shower and get dressed, it's already about 3. I lay down and stare up at the white ceiling, thinking of all that happened today. I kidnapped Lily. Ethan shifted. Ethan disappears. Then is found, but with Lily goes missing. I know the man who wrote that letter had something to do with it. God, if I just knew who he is. I try my best to close my eyes, but all visions of Lily come to mind. Tonight's going to be long. A loud banging wakes me up from my deep sleep. I sit up in time to see my door swing open. You let her get kidnapped. A very stressed-looking Miles yells. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nelban, heartfelt thanks for your unfading patience, enthusiasm. You can't just barge in here, Caleb says from the doorway, looking very angry as well. Well, maybe if this Doshabi didn't lose my best friend, then I wouldn't have to. I didn't lose her. She ran away and happened to get herself kidnapped while at it. I retort, trying my best to keep my anger under control. So this is her fault. He tries to hit me, but thankfully, Caleb holds him back. He whispers something in his hair, calming him down. Sorry, Alpha didn't, but she's my best friend. We let you bring her back so you could protect her. We're just worried. I nod, thanking him for the apology. I tell them to meet me downstairs while I get ready. I grab some black basketball shorts and a plain white t-shirt, throw them on, and hurry downstairs. I stop by the infirmary to check on Ethan first. Archie is sleeping, but Elliot is awake by his side. How was he last night? Archie is fine, but he cried himself to sleep. I nod, rubbing Ethan's head. Daddy. He peeks up from his lashes. I smile and kiss the top of his head. Hey baby, how are you feeling? He curls up to my chest, humming a response. Are you going to find her? Daddy. I nod as I nuzzle my face in his neck. Please come back, Daddy, and bring Mommy with you. I will. Get some rest. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nelban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. They'll come say goodbye before we leave. He nods and rolls onto his stomach. He closes his eyes and goes back to sleep. Ethan, you stay with him until he wakes up. I ask Elliot once I know Ethan is asleep. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Dylan, but you know I would rather be out there helping you find Lily. I know Elliot, but I don't want to have another accident like the last time we were attacked. Stay here and protect the pack house. I pat his shoulder, leaving him to watch over Ethan. As soon as I get back to the house and step into the living room, everybody grows silent. Well, mostly everybody. Uncle Nick. Benjamin screams, launching himself at me. Hey Benji. I hug him back. Hey Dylan. I nod at Miles and give him a hug as well. Thanks for coming so fast. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. It means a lot. The next half hour is spent setting up different groups and individual responsibilities. What about me? Uncle Dylan. Benji asks me once everybody besides my group has left. I actually have a job for you. Benj, I need you to watch my son. See, he got hurt. HES at the doctor. Do you think you could entertain him while we're gone? Keep his mind off things. He nods excitedly as he bounces in his shoes. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Buddy, follow me. I grab his hand and lead him to the infirmary. He looks nervous as we step inside Ethan's room. I chuckle aloud, waking Elliot and Ethan. Hey, bud. I want you to meet someone. I bring Benjamin in front of me, and Ethan's face lightens up. The two introduce themselves, and by the time I leave, both are already too busy to say goodbye. Okay, Miles. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Miles, Dad, and Rich, are you ready? They all nod, so I make my way to the backyard. Once we all shift, we head out. Most of the others have already searched the pack lands, so we head north to No Man's Land. If I'm right, then this mystery man must have had help from rogues. We tracked their scent, only about a mile into No Man's Land. With the help from Miles trackers, we can hopefully get something. The air gets cold as we escape our land's borderline. There are no pack warriors to defend us here. As we make our way through, I get a sick feeling in my stomach. Something's not right. Dylan, Nikolai says, confirming my suspension. You'll go ahead. I'm going to stay behind. Search the area a little more. They all seem hesitant, but I let them know we'll be fine. I scan the area again, but I don't find anything. As I head back to the group, I hear a branch snap. I turn my head to the side, but don't see anything. I said stay away. I whip my head to see a man with a gun a few feet away. I move to charge, but a pain hits my left leg. I fall to the ground. God, killing you is going to be fun. That's all I hear before the gun connects to my head, knocking me out. Rule number 1, always stick with your group. Chapter 16, Lily. I shift around, feeling the cold surface of the concrete ground. The restraints holding my ankles scrape against the floor, waking the guard watching me. Be quiet, slut. I'm trying to sleep. Leans back in his chair and closes his eyes. I drag my feet across the ground just to annoy him. I smirk at him as he makes his way to me with a glare. His palm connects to my face, leaving a burning sting. He tries to hit me again, but the opening of the door stops him. Samuel, what are you doing out of your chair? Silas's voice echoes through the cemented room. The man, or Samuel, stutters over his words, but nothing clear comes out. Silas shakes his head, walking over to us. He trips Samuel, making him fall face first. We lock eyes before Samuel's neck is snapped. I stare wide-eyed at the dead man inches away from me. He was annoying anyways. Don't you think? Cupcake. I look up in terror at the maniac standing in front of me. You're crazy. I try to scoot away from him, but the chain only lets me get so far. Only for you, my little cupcake. God, you're so adorable. I spit in his face when he tries to touch me. He wipes it off with a smirk I know all too well. So, how was your first night's sleep? He asked casually as if we were the bestest of friends. Go to hell. I don't like the heat. So no thanks. He says with a cocky grin. He goes over to the door, but looks back at me, looking as if he is contemplating. How much do you think Dylan weighs? Cupcake, stop calling me that. And why does it matter? He shrugs his shoulders. I try to look around the dirty room to see if I can spot anything to release me from these chains. But there's nothing. Don't waste your time. Nothing but this key can unlock those. I huff, knowing HES probably right. Little crazy is smart. Just out of curiosity. How much do you think Dylan's wolf weighs? Why do you keep asking me dumb questions? Silas. He smirks as he shuts the door and comes over to sit on the bed beside me. Why I'm sleeping on the floor when there's a bed right next to me beats me. You know, you should eat more. I like girls with a little more meat on them. I could give two craps about what you like. Archie is silent as he studies me for a while, looking up and down my body. I squirm in my position, not liking that his eyes roams on my body. I almost forgot what your body looks like. I shoot daggers his way, but his eyes stay glued to my private areas. Should we do something about that? A wave of fear comes all over me, and I hear a whimper. Silas makes his way over to me in a predatory way. He slips a key out of his back pocket. He is going to unlock my chains. I try to scoot away from him once they're loose, but he grabs me, picks me up onto his shoulder. My body hits the hard bed. I try again to get away, but I'm just pinned to the bed. Handcuffs are put on my wrists, trapping me to the bed. I try to squirm out of them, but it's useless. I look up into his eyes to see amusement in them. What have I done to deserve this? He starts to take off his clothes, his eyes never leaving mine. I thrash harder and harder against the handcuffs. I am not going to let this happen again. As Silas is about to take off his pants, a loud sound bounces off the walls now. Silas yells, pulling his pants back up, keeping his shirt off. He is only gone for about a minute before he comes back. Get dressed, slut. He unlocks my cuffs and throws my clothes at me. I hurry and put the clothes on, ignoring the burning pain on my wrist. A gun is pointed to my head the whole time as I'm getting dressed. Try anything. I'll kill Ethan, he whispers as he grips my hair after I'm dressed. I nod and walk with him out of the room. We make our way up a staircase to a wooden door. He opens the door to a room filled with men. They all give me smug looks, some with lust and want in them. She's mine. Silas yells and pulls me closer to him. A growl comes from beside us. I look to see a few men, blocking something. Are you ready for your surprise? Lily. The men part, holding a very beat-up Dylan. I try to approach him, but him shoved to the ground. I said don't try anything. Silas screams at me. He comes over to me and kicks me on my side. Dylan growls, which makes the other wolves growl. Quiet, everybody. The room becomes silent as Silas' voice booms through the walls. Take him to the cells. His face bothers me. So does his men. I watch as they drag a screaming Dylan out of the room. So, were you surprised? Cupcake, he asks as he sits down in one of the chairs. Silas, why are you doing this? Just let Dylan go. Please. Tears run down my face. Not from the pain in my stomach, but from the fact that I might as well have signed Dylan's death warrant. Now, why would I do that? I need him dead for you to really be mine. A blindfold is placed over my head, blinding me. As Silas's words sink in, I hear Silas give orders, but I simply block him out. I'm lifted from my spot on the ground and carried back to my place in another room. This time, I'm set on a bed, and only one of my hands is chained. The blindfold is ripped from my head. It takes me a few seconds, but when I do, I realize I'm not alone. Dylan's sitting in the corner, chained to where I previously was. His face is all bloody, cuts and bruises covering his barely covered body. Dylan, I breathe out. not able to get any other words out without sobbing. His eyes open, meeting my watery ones. I'm so sorry. Lily Ayn. It's not your fault. Dylan. He shakes his head as tears stream down both our faces. I couldn't protect you like I promised I would. I got us kidnapped. What kind of a mate am I? I try to get up, but I remember that I'm chained. It only angers me more. Dylan, look at me. He lifts his head to stare at me. None of this is your fault. You got kidnapped when you were trying to save me. Dylan, you tried. That's all that matters. It's my fault you're here anyways. I'm the one that should be asking what kind of a mate I am. Wow, that was lovely. Cupcake. So much emotion. Silas's voice startles me. Dylan growls as he tries to break his chains. But once again, it's of no use. There is the smell of silver, making it clear why he can't move. Silas comes over to sit by me, keeping his eyes locked on Dylan's. By now, Dylan's eyes are almost pitch black. Why are his eyes like that? Silas asks with slight fear in his eyes. Achia's not in control anymore, I say, and Silas' eyes grow huge. Stupid werewolves. He mutters under his breath and goes to the closet in the room. Opening it up, guns, knives, and needles are stocked on shelves. He pulls out a syringe, taps on it, before walking over to Dylan. He stabs in Dylan's shoulder. Dylan growls, but it quickly dies down. What did you put in him? I shout, pulling at my restraints. I watch as Dylan's body goes numb. Calm down. Achia's okay. He just won't be able to shift for a couple of days. Enough time for me to kill him. This time, it's me who growls at Silas, throwing the syringe in the trash, then joins me back on the bed. He starts to touch various parts of my body. I move away as best as I can, but it's no luck as the other handcuff is put on. Don't deny our love. Lily, you want me just as much as I want you. Screw you, Silas. I spit in his face, but all it seems to do is turn him on more. He rubbed circles on my cheek before and then slaps me. The same is done to the other cheek. Your skin is so much prettier when it turns a bright shade of red. He whispers in my ear as his hand fumbles with my zipper. I twist my body the best I can, but his pressure only increases. I try to scream, but as if he predicted my move, he immediately covers my mouth. I bite the inside of his palm, making him pull back and hiss in pain. You slut. His hand connects with my face once again, drawing blood. In seconds, my clothes are ripped off my body before I can register it's happening. A whimper comes from the room, and when I look up, I see Dylan looking at the scene in pain. Please, Silas, stop. You can't do this with him in here. Please, I'm begging you. He ignores me as his clothes disappear from his body. He grabs a condom from the drawer next to the bedside, but puts it on before climbing back on top of me. He lines himself, looking me in the eyes before entering me. Tears well up in my eyes as I shut them tightly, trying my best not to make any noise which only would encourage him. The sound of skin on skin on skin and whimpers leaving both me and Dylan are heard in the room. After what seemed like hours, Silas releases inside the condom, pulling out of me just right after. The tears that were once on my face have dried up on my cheeks. I keep my eyes close, not wanting to see the satisfaction in Silas' eyes or the disgust in Dylan's. Movement is had in the room, but all I hear is my racing heartbeat. The door to the room is stormed shut, the sound echoing throughout the room. Lily, please, don't. I stop him, knowing that only tears will come out of his apology. I finally open my eyes to the chipped ceiling. The cold breeze hits me and goosebumps erupt on my skin. The ache in my lower region restricts me from moving to cover myself up. So I lay there, vulnerable to the world, vulnerable to the man I was growing to love, and most importantly, vulnerable to the man who has stopped me from living my life without fear. I think back to the first time I was in this room and how lucky I was to get away. But at what cost? To have my mate killed in front of me, to have my son forced to grow up without parents, Was it all worth it to leave Silas the first time? Flashbacks of the night I was taken come back to mind. The way he grabbed me after work, the pain I felt when he injected me with drugs, the confusion I felt as I wake up in a basement, and the fear for my son and his safety. The only thing that got me through those brutal days was the thought of saving Ethan. The reason I wake up, the reason I work as much as I do, and the reason I was willing to open old feelings just so he could have a relationship with his dad. I lift my body gently, pain erupting from every part of my body. I wrap the sheets around my body the best I can while handcuffed. I look up to see Dylan staring at me. I have to look down to not start crying again. I know he thinks this is fault, but it's not. You won, you know. My voice cracking from my throat being so dry. His eyebrows scrunched together in confusion. What are you talking about? You got me to fall in love with you. Catching him off guard, he looks generally surprised, which surprises me as well. Maybe he was so confident after all. You love me? He asked with a sad smile on his lips. You always have. But you didn't want me back then. So I was scarred. But I can't deny it. I'm in love with you too. But I just wish we are in different circumstances. I nod my head and look down at the blood-covered sheets. I notice now that my handcuffs are loose. I was so out of it when Silas was finished. I never noticed. Dylan. He looks at me, his eyes looking at my free hands. They're loose. Try to get out of them. Baby. I do just that and end up getting them out of the handcuff. I try to get up, but as soon as I steady myself, the pain in my back and legs have been too much. Come on, baby. You can do it. Dylan encourages me as I try to stand up again. This time, I succeed as I slowly make my way over to him. They're not coming undone. I growl out in frustration as I try to undo his. My hands fumble with the chains, but they're impossible to unlock. Dylan's hands grab my face and look me in the eyes. Lily, you tried. To my extraordinaire, Madeline Noble. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. But you need to leave. Go back to our son. I can't move. There's too much silver in my body. I love you. He whispers close to my lips. Our faces touching. Our tears stream down each our faces as they fell in sync. I'll send help. Dylan, I promise you. I say before connecting our lips together. Our lips move in sync. All emotions pouring out. Words not needed. We pull apart when we hear footsteps approaching. Go now. Lily, go. I peck his lips once more and scramble to my feet. I look back once more before opening the door and running to the open door above the staircase. I push hard against the door, almost falling when it opens. I'm almost to the door that leads outside when I'm pulled back harshly. Not so fast. Luna, a familiar voice says. I spin around to see who it is. I gasp in shock. Jason. Chapter 17, Lily Jason. Surprised that Dylan's third in command is in the same room as me. You sound surprised. Luna, why, you realize you're not getting away that easy. A deep chuckle comes from his mouth. Oh, you got her. Good. Take her back down to the cells. You'll deal with her later. Silas directs Jason as he comes into the room with a faint smell of Dylan's blood on him. As Jason walks me back down to my personal hell, I take this chance to ask him why. Why not? Lily Aline. It's for survival. Lily Aine. Silas is the strongest hunter out there. And if a little white lie about being a werewolf gets me and Amber safety, then so be it. Now, stay and he roar. Next time, you won't come back alive. The door slams behind him, leaving me alone to my thoughts. How could everybody be so dumb to not notice that Jason is working for somebody else? And not just anybody. Silas, for God's sake. Thinking about it, it was the perfect plan though. Jason knew all of Dylan's plans on going after Silas. As a werewolf, Jason would be stronger than most of Silas's men, so he would easily be accepted in this group. Jason could also easily impress Silas as he strategized spacing off of his knowledge of the pack's plans. I mean, I thought Silas was at least a decent hunter. He did kidnap the alpha of one of the best packs in the country. But if he seriously thinks that Jason is human, that just puts some doubts to the notion. Being a delta in a pack means wearing that werewolf scent stronger than most, and masking it can't be easy. As I sit on the floor, since I refuse to sit on the bed, I sniff around, getting a sick feeling in my stomach. The smell of leather and blood are mixed in the room as well as the smell of sex. Looking around the room, I don't see any blood, except on the bed sheets. I can still smell the ill scent of rainwater and trees, but there's something else to it. The closet door, which holds a variety of weapons, vibrates. It's not until the sound of a phone goes off do I realize what it is. Walking over to it, I try to pull the doors open, but it's locked. It needs a passcode. I type in different types of numbers, but they're all invalid. I try to think hard of what such an evil man would put as his code. An idea pops into my head. The doors open with a click. The chain falls to the ground. He used the day he kidnapped me the first time as his passcode. What a fool he is. I grab the first thing in the closet, which happens to be a knife. I look down at the phone to see it going off again. I pick it up, surprised when I see a familiar face. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I knew that bitch is capable of doing something like this. I wipe the dry blood off of the knife on my shorts and close the closet back. I hear footsteps coming down the stairs, so I hurry and put the blade in my pocket. I go back to my seat on the floor. Moments later, Silas enters the room with Jason on his heels. The door slams behind them with a click. They stand side by side, staring at me. Should we let her watch Dill and I would just let her hear it? Silas asks Jason, a dumb grin on his lips. I think she would love a nice show. Silas nods and comes over to me. He lifts me up, bringing me to his face. He winks and pecks me on the lips. Once he releases my lips, I spit out on the concrete, hating the taste of him in my mouth. As we walk down the hallway, someone's screams get louder. I cringe when I recognize them as Dylan's. Oh, it gets better. Silas whispers in my ear. The door opens to what looks like a torture chamber. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Whips, knives, needles, and about whatever else you can hurt someone with is in the room. In the center of the room, Dylan lies, strapped to a table, blood dripping from the multiple cut wounds on his arms. He has what looks like a gag ball in his mouth. Pushed down into a seat, a front row to the show. Silas says to men are on either side of Dylan, holding him down as he tries to escape. Jason stands close to the door, out of Dylan's view. Silas directs his guards away, taking his spot beside the holding table. His guards sit beside me, one resting his hand on my thigh. I glare at him, only for him to wink at me. Two more men appear, sitting next to the others. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Everybody is here besides Johnny and Mark. We should just begin. Silas asks with a glint his eyes. Everybody besides me nods, encouraging the maniac. The gag ball is removed from Dylan's mouth, letting all his screams be heard. Silas makes single cuts down his arm, wallowing up the room with the smell of blood and metal. I can tell the silver in his veins is keeping him from tearing Silas apart. My body flinches every time a scream comes out of Dylan's mouth. I shut my eyes, not wanting to see the horror in front of me. To my agent extraordinaire, Webnovel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Come on, Cupcake, just look at his face. It's a mesmerizing sight, seeing the blood drip from such strong arms that are so helpless. The room erupts in chuckles, the sound echoing in the walls. I barely open my eyes to see Silas picking up a syringe. Both me and Dylan's eyes go wide once we realize that it's wolfsbane that is inside. Yes, Wolfsbane, the only thing that can't really kill a werewolf. Silas mocks, waving the syringe in his hand. I got one hand around my back, feeling the knife's edges run across my finger. I look to the guards. They are so engulfed in the scene to even notice my actions. I pull the knife from out of my shorts, getting a good grasp in my hands. My eyes meet Dylan's as I point with my eyes to the knife in my hand. He gives me a brief nod. Hopefully, it's an indication of understanding to my plan. Just as Silas S. is about to inject Dylan, I take this as my chance to do something. I stab the guard to my left in the thigh. A scream comes out from his mouth. Everybody's eyes goes to us. The syringe drops from Silas's hands. In a swift movement, Dylan's restraints are off, and Silas is on the floor. I move on to the next guard, stabbing him in his neck. He falls as I'm roughly shoved into the ground. I turn my body around to see another guard get ready to stab me. Without any notice, his neck is snapped by Dylan. As the guard falls to the ground, I look around the room for Jason, but he is nowhere in sight. I look over to Dylan as his body falls to the floor. I bend down to him, taking in all his cuts and bruises. Dylan, did you see Jason? I don't know where he went. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Why I silence him as I hear shouting come from the outside. Dylan, stay right here. There's two more out there. He'll be right back. I'm fine. Let's go. He gets up and clasps his hand with mine. We quietly make our way out of the room. I see the two remaining guards look inside each room. I'm assuming they're looking for Silas. We make our way into one of the rooms and hide behind the door. I pick up a rock on the ground and throw it at the wall, trying to draw the attention of the guards. Not even a minute later, they both enter the room, looking for the source of the sound. Dylan grabs the first one, slitting his throat with a knife he grabbed from the other room. The other guard turns around and stares us wide. "Key? Don't. I have children and Dylan cuts his speech off, throwing the knife directly in the center of his forehead. We have a child too. Dushebik didn't stop you from kidnapping us. I hear a tiny scream come from the closet. I walk over, opening the door all the way. It's a little girl, huddled in the corner. Sweetie, I'm not going to hurt you. She looks down at the man on the floor, pushing herself more into the corner. I block him from her view and put my hands up in surrender. I know I may seem like the bad guy, but I promise I'm not. Silas kidnapped me too, but he is dead now. We can leave this place. You killed my daddy. Daddy, who is this little girl? Her little arms wrap around my neck, surprising me. I wrap my arms around her, holding on to her as I stand up. What's your name? Baby girl. Akila. Akila Charles. I nod and tell her my name. I walk away, but she stops me. This is my mommy. Shest. She holds a picture of her and her mom in a tiny room. Akaya was only a baby at that time. On the back of the picture, it reads, Akilil Underlear. 2008 My World. At the end, it's signed by Silas. I look back down at the little girl in my arms to see her with a sad smile on her lips. I hand her back the picture and kiss her forehead. I go out of the room with her in my arms and make our way to the exit. We almost make it to the door just as I feel an intense pain in my leg. Looking down, I see the syringe stuck in my leg. See you soon, Cupcake, Silas says before his eye close shut. I shut my eyes tightly and pull out the syringe. Dylan stabs Silas again and again as I shield a killer from him. Let's go. Dylan. Making him stop. His eyes are filled with anger. I ignore the pain to the best of my ability as me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. And Dylan make it out of that house. I engulf the fresh air for the first time in days, taking my surroundings in. Oddly enough, the trees look familiar, telling me that we're not far from our land. We all head there, all of us leaning on each other for support. About 30 minutes pass by before I catch scent of our pack warriors. Help please. Somebody. Help us. I scream as loud as I can. My body feels like gel. Oh. And I can feel the wolfsbane working its way through my system. Just as my eyes close, I see men running towards us. Luna, to my agent extraordinaire, demons.丨. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I hand a killer to one of the guards and grab onto a tree for support. Luna, you don't look too well. Are you? I don't hear anything else as I collapse to the ground. I feel my body start to shut down as the air escapes my lips. Dylan, I whisper, letting the wolfsbane take over my body, officially shutting it down. Dylan, I catch Lily's body as she falls. I ignore all my wounds and run her towards the house. As we arrive, Barry and a team of nurses rush out and grab her. They take her into the infirmary and disappear behind the doors. Dylan, we need to help you with your wounds. I look up to see Elliot and his mate. I don't have time to respond before my body collapses, everything going black. The feeling of little fingers poking at my face wakes me up. As I open my eyes, I see Ethan sitting there with a smile on his face. Daddy, your up. Kay. Ethan hugs me tightly, not even pulling apart when there's a knock on the door. Elliot comes in, joining us in the hug. More arms join us seconds later. I look up to see my parents and Gavin. I don't know how long we stayed like that, wrapped up in each other. I missed you so much. Daddy, Ethan says, clutching to me again after he already let go. I missed you too, buddy, so much. I kiss his forehead, taking in his scent. Where's your mummy? But nobody answers. Eth and Ness' eyes fill up with tears. Nobody's told you, Elliot asks. I shake my head, growing confused by the second. What is it? Dylan, Lily passed out when she got here. She was injected with wolfsbane. It took over her body. Dylan, she's in a coma, and the doctor doesn't think she will make it. My heart shatters at Elliot's words. I don't even remember her being injected. I have to see her. I get off the bed. Nobody stops me as I slowly make my way out of the room. I make it to the waiting room with my family behind me. Lily's parents, brother, and best friend are all sitting down. They are all in a state of despair. They're not letting anybody see her. So you just have to wait like us. Lucas says coldly, not looking towards me. I do what he says and sits in one of the chairs. Ethan sits on my lap, curling up to me. Hours pass by, with us sitting there, waiting for any news on Lily. The door opens. Gabriella walks out with a little girl by her side. The little girl whispers something to her, pointing to me. All eyes go to me, but I can't remember who the little girl is. To my agent extraordinaire, demons.丨. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She says that you were there when she was rescued. My brows furrow together in confusion. You were there with Lily A. Line. Lily saved you. Leonard asks the little girl. She nods and whispers a yes. To my agent extraordinaire, demons.丨. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. She doesn't have anybody. What do you want me to do? Gabriella asks me. But it's hard to think. If you don't mind. To my agent extraordinaire, demons.丨. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. I can take a killer, Donnie says from the entryway. I look to see if Achille approves, and she nods. So I let Donnie take her away. Have you heard anything, baby? Elliot asks his mate. She shakes her head, a disappointed look on her face. The doctor did say that she could have visitors in a little while, though. But that's all I've heard. Where's Jason? I ask Lucas once Gabriella goes back inside. You didn't hear? My dad asks, giving me a dumb look. No, hear what? Jason was helping Silas the whole time. His wife came to us after he left and told us his plans. We thought you killed him. That's what Lily must have been talking about. He ditched when Lily stabbed one of the guards. While Lily stabbed somebody. Yes, I knew she was cool, man. Darwin says excitedly, making a smile appear on every owner's face. My Easter brings us food. Coming back with sandwiches and water. I went to change out of my bloody clothes and come back as fast as I could. We all eat in silence, the sad mood taking over us. I put the last bite in my mouth when the doctor comes out. We all stand and wait for him to tell us the news. I'm guessing you're ill here for lunarly. We all nod in sync, rushing him to continue. Well, the wolfsbane spread throughout her whole body, initially shutting down her body. We were able to flush most of it out. But with how long she had it in her, it ended up sending her into a coma. Ethan, she'd be okay. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Ethan, she survive? Leonard asks. There's no way to tell for sure. It just depends on how strong her body is. But with the condition she was in these past few days, her chances are slim. Can we see her? Ethan asks, hiding behind my leg. The doctor nods, telling us the way to her room. We all make our way. Me and Ethan in front. Opening the door, Lily lays there, tubes and wires hooked up to her. We all make it inside the room and stare at her lifeless body. I'll just leave you all here. The doctor says, but I tell him to wait. Did you run her blood? He nods. So I continue. Is she pregnant? Why would she be pregnant? Lucas asks protectively. I ignore him and look to the doctor. No, Alpha. But we did find that there were several rips around the vaginal area. Her chance of getting pregnant again are very slim. I nod my head. Sadness flooding through me. Lucas waits until the doctor leaves to ask again. Silas raped her in front of me. I whisper. So Ethan wouldn't hear. You just watched my sister get raped and you didn't do anything. He shouts, throwing his chair across the room. I was chained up. Lucas, there's nothing I could do. Dull. Dylan, you're Ian Alpha. You could have broken them. They were silver chains. Jake. And I was injected with drugs. I had to sit there and watch. You think I enjoyed that? He doesn't have time to respond as Lily's heart monitor starts to go off. Doctors and nurses rush in, pushing us all out of the room. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Ethan screams as we watch the heart monitor full halt. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You need to get out now. And with that, the door to the infirmary is slammed to my face.